And once again, the West is tied. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to the Monday Dodgers Latest here on our YouTube channel. Love the interaction. Love all the comments. Please keep them coming. Hit me up right there on X and on Instagram at JRod Show. And, of course, right here on the YouTube channel, getting close to a milestone episode. Milestone subscribers. We love that we have made us part of the Dodger community, so keep it going. Hit that thumbs up button here on our YouTube page. All right, well, the Dodgers, after a very frustrating Friday and Saturday, listen, Friday not so much, basically because I think they just got beat. They just got beat by Yu Darvish. Great pitching, great bullpen. They got handcuffed. I can live with that 2-1 loss, especially as well as Blake Snell pitched. Saturday was rougher. Nestor Cortez, who had an ERA, in the stratosphere, all of a sudden shuts down the Dodgers, all of a sudden found it. Maybe he exacted some revenge after that Freddie Freeman grand slam in the World Series. That was hard. And then yesterday with Nick Pivetta, the Dodgers were just kind of falling all over themselves, but they snap out of it, win the game 8-2, end up saving one game of the series, and there it is. After 31 games to go, the Dodgers and Padres are tied atop the National League West. Now, there's some implications here. Now, if the Dodgers and Padres end up tied and both teams make the playoffs, one is the division winner and one is as the wild card, and that's how they are now. Both teams would be eligible for postseason play if the season ended today. If they end up tied with the same record, the Dodgers would go in as division champions. Why? Because the Dodgers ended up winning the season series against San Diego. They beat them 9 out of 13 times, and the Dodgers would hold that tiebreaker. So the Dodgers would not necessarily advance to the division series, but they would be the division winner in the wild card round and host the best of 3 series. Now, how does it all shake up? Well, here's how this works. The Dodgers and Padres are even. The Dodgers right now are the 3rd best division winner, which means they would not have a first round bye. They would have to play in the best of 3 division series round. San Diego is the wild card, but they would be the 2nd wild card. That's why it's important to win this division for the Dodgers, because the Cubs are the top wild card. They are 2 games in front of the Padres and the Dodgers. If whoever wins this wild card, if it shakes out the way it is, that wild card winner would have to go to Wrigley Field in the wild card series, play possibly all 3 games at Wrigley Field. Because remember, in the wild card round, there is no travel. The team with the best record gets all 3 potential games at their own home ballpark. So as of right now, the wild card winner, which would be the Padres, would go to Wrigley Field and play the Cubs in a best of 3. The Dodgers would be the 3rd best division winner. They would be at home and they would host the Mets. Again, that's the wild card round. And in terms of the first 2 seeds, well, they get byes and go right into the division series. The Dodgers trail the Phillies by 2.5 games. Really, it's 3 games in the loss column, and that's for the chase for the number 2 seed. Remember, the Dodgers and Phillies still have games this year at Dodger Stadium in mid-September. They have a 3-game series. Now, in terms of how does it turn out for the rest of the year, well, the Dodgers and Padres don't play anymore. They are done for the regular season. Not a big fan of that, of the quirk of the schedule. And the Padres have the easiest remaining strength of schedule the rest of the way. The Dodgers have the 5th easiest. So I think there's little doubt both teams are going to get into the postseason. It's just a matter of who's the division winner, who gets to host games, who has to go on the road, and if you can avoid that wild card series by being the number 2 seed, no one's catching the Brewers for the number 1 seed in the National League. If you can get into that number 2 seed, you avoid that best of 3 wild card series and go right to the division series, which is best of 5. But there is travel there. So still lots to go with 31 games left, but the Dodgers and Padres atop the heap. But the Dodgers, if they remain tied at the end of the 162 games and both teams get in, the Dodgers would be the division champions as they hold the tiebreaker. So lots to get to within this last month and a half of the season. We love to see it. Let me know what you think. Would you rather play a division series, best of 3? You think the Dodgers are better suited for that? Or would you guarantee at least 3 games in a division series? Of course, there's been such talk about the Dodgers having that week off. They finally were able to get over the hump last year and win it. So Always stuff going on with the Dodgers. All right, speaking of stuff going on, the kids are all right, right? Even though they lost 2 out of 3, there was some great things happening. Alex Freeland, right? All of a sudden found his power stroke, hit a couple of home runs in the series, hit his first big league home run on Friday for the Dodgers' only run. Also hit a home run on Saturday. And then Dalton Rushing, right? Had his moment. The game was tied at 2 yesterday in the 7th inning, and he hit a 3-run home run to give the Dodgers the lead, a lead they would not relinquish. And Dalton Rushing, there it is. That's his biggest big league hit in his short career, and definitely one that he will always remember. A big 3-run home run to help the Dodgers kind of, essentially get them off the mat. Even though the game was tied at that point, the Dodgers looked pretty lifeless and pretty listless. Freddie Freeman also hit a couple of home runs in the game. And then also I want to mention, he's not necessarily a kid, but Alex Call. What a series he had in Colorado. He had a big road trip. These are all things that need to start being thought about because Kike Hernandez is coming back. Yeah, Dave Roberts said that Kike could be activated as soon as tonight as the Dodgers host the Reds, and we'll get into that later, but he's definitely going to come back for the Reds series. So what does that mean? Okay, if Kike comes back, who goes away? Does Conforto get released? Does Alex Freeland get sent down? Does Alex Call get less playtime? Does Justin Dean get sent down? Does Buddy Kennedy get released? Lots of machinations. I think it'll probably be Buddy Kennedy. He might get DFA'd. I think he would be done. I think he was a plug and play. Max Muncy's still a ways out at third base, and Freeland, of course, can play short and third, and if he has found a little bit of that power, he is deserved to stay in the big leagues. And the way Alex Call has been playing, I remember when the Dodgers made that trade, people were like, Alex Call, the Washington Nationals. Well, they were thinking he could be the next Tommy Edman. He could be last year's Tommy Edman, and he certainly had flashes and brilliance of it in Colorado, and even in San Diego had a couple of big hits for the Dodgers. So that'll be the thing. If it were up to me, maybe you release Conforto, and then you keep Kike on the roster with Freeland and Buddy Kennedy. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to certainly not send Alex Freeland back down to the minor leagues the way he's played. I think he belongs. I think he has more than done what he needs to do to stay up here. The question is, do you keep Conforto? Do you lose Buddy Kennedy? Lots going on, and we got to see if Kike can play. His elbow seems to be healed. He was doing great in Oklahoma City. Now we'll see how he does against big league pitching. So lots to get into as the Dodgers open up a 6-game homestand tonight against the Reds and the Diamondbacks. All right, we had another Ohtani moment. Did you see it? First of all, let's take care of business. Hit his 45th home run of the year yesterday. Game was well out of hand, but he hit it. He's tied Kyle Schwarber for the National League lead in home runs with 45. He's also still leading the majors with 122 runs scored. That is just absurd what he's doing. And, of course, he leads the National League in slugging and on-base percentage. Of course, all that pitching as well. He will pitch in the Red Series, so no doubt he's an MVP. But did you see what was going on? Basically, when he hit that home run to give the Dodgers and put it away, Dodgers ended up winning 8-2 yesterday. He comes back to the dugout, and I guess there was a couple of Padre fans that were sitting literally next to the Dodger dugout in the stands, and I guess they were wearing out Ohtani, wearing out the Dodgers all game, heckling. In a good way, right? In a good way. It wasn't anything like no fights or anything like that, but just wearing out the Dodgers. And when Ohtani hits that home run, you can look at the video here on social media. He comes back and he kind of gives the fans, those Padre fans who are wearing Padre jerseys, a high five. He kind of daps them and says, "What's up? Thanks for all the motivation. Thanks for helping me out there." So I love it. Just another reason why Ohtani, he gets it, right? He may be quiet, he may be, maybe the language barrier, but he gets it. He gets the game, he gets the passion, and he's really come out of his shell. Maybe he was never in a shell. We're just seeing him now, on the national stage every night, the World Series. We analyze every move since he's come to the Dodgers. But high-fiving those Padre fans next to the Dodger dugout who were heckling the team when Ohtani hits that home run was amazing. And again, another moment for Ohtani to remember. All right, last time before we go, that's right, it's the Reds and Diamondbacks. 6-game homestand. They come to town. And the Reds are interesting, right? The Reds are a game and a half out of the last wild card, right? They trail the Mets by a game and a half for the last wild card, really 2 in the loss column. So this is a big series. And for the Reds, they have been on the West Coast for a while. They started in Anaheim, then they went to Arizona, and now they're in LA. So road-weary Reds come to Dodger Stadium for a 3-game series starting tonight. Dodgers will have Emmett Sheehan on the mound tonight, Clayton Kershaw on Tuesday, and Shohei Ohtani on Wednesday. And the Dodgers will have Thursday off and then host the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are out of it. But, of course, it's a division game. Diamondbacks always love to give the Dodgers some tough times. But this will be a very key series for the Dodgers, who, despite still having the Reds, the Phillies, and the Mariners on their schedule, the Dodgers with the 5th easiest record strength of schedule as we head down to the stretch. Padres with the easiest. So it will be an interesting run as the Dodgers and Padres even in the National League West after 131 games. Now remember, you can hit me up on Instagram and on X right there, J-Rod Show. Like, subscribe here, give us those thumbs up on Dodgers latest, okay? Dodgers and Padres done for the regular season. Will they meet again in the postseason? That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I'm Jim Rodriguez. The Reds are in town, and remember, it's always time for Dodger baseball.